drives every... The following is a special presentation of ABC Sports.
ABC Sports presents, live in its 28th season, the Professional Bowlers Tour. From Miami, Florida, it's a $160,000 Budweiser Classic. Let's meet our field of 5. In match 1, last year's PBA Player of the Year, Brian Voss makes his first 1989 television appearance. Voss will meet Marc McDowell, a non-winner from Madison, Wisconsin. The winner will challenge Nathan Terry Jr. in his first ever TV finals. In second place, a 4-time PBA winner, Dave Ferraro, looking for his 3rd Budweiser title, and today's tournament leader, Randy Pedersen, winner of this year's AC Delco Classic. That's our field today on the Professional Bowlers Tour. What a treat to be in South Florida today. About 80 degrees as you look at the ever-changing Miami, Florida skyline. We're at the Don Carter Kendall Lanes, one of the most attractive bowling establishments anywhere, for the finals of the $160,000 Budweiser Classic, where the winner will get $30,000. Hello to all of you. I'm Chris Schenkel. What a field. Our 5 finalists after 42 games are separated by only 50 pins. So it bodes well that we will have tremendous competition. Well, we had hoped to have tremendous downhill competition from Vail, Colorado on Wide World of Sports that follows, but because of this, what a paradox as we're in Florida. Extremely violent cold and snow conditions. That won't take place today. But on Wide World, we will have in figure skating the precise pairs competition, the World Challenge of Champions from Paris, France, plus a report on the gold medal winning performance by Tamaru McKinney in the World Alpine Ski Championships in Vail. We mentioned Don Carter. That certainly is a connection to St. Louis, Budweiser, St. Louis, and my colleague, Nelson Burton Jr., St. Louis.
Thank you. Thank you. Chris, you're talking about proprietor. Well, I have to congratulate you on being the recipient of the Bowling Proprietors Award for outstanding contributions to our industry this year. Congratulations.
Thank you. I think Don stuffed the ballot box for me. I truly believe that, Bob.
Well, you don't have to stuff the ballot box to have an exciting match here this week. The first match includes Brian Voss, one of the top players. He's the Bowler of the Year, going against a former football player, Marc McDowell. Should be exciting right out of the chute. The winner of that goes against Nathan Terry Jr. Who's Nathan Terry? Nobody really knows. He's a power player. He's fresh out of West Texas State College. He went there on a scholarship. He could be very tough. He has a lot of experience for a first-time player. The winner of that match goes against Dave Ferraro in the semifinal. Dave Ferraro, almost $250,000 earnings in the last 2 years. One of the best clutch bowlers in the sport of bowling. And finally, the tournament leader. He has the hot hand, Randy Pedersen. He won the AC Delco Classic earlier this year. He started the tournament with a 300 game. But who's going to win? Not Randy Pedersen. Dave Ferraro in the number 2 spot will take all the money today. The number 1 man hasn't won all year long. Watch out, Ferraro. Now, let's take a look at some of that money Budweiser has put up for these 5 players.
All right, out of the total, it's $30,000. The winner, $16,800, $6,500, and $5,500. We're going with that very first match. Brian Voss going against Marc McDowell. McDowell, a non-winner, graduate of West Texas State, originally from Madison, Wisconsin. So we welcome back the 1988 Player of the Year. His 27th telecast, his first here in 1989. This is a record setter. Last year, winning $225,485. First shot. Has his share of followers here, and rightfully so. And here's a young man, even though he hasn't won, has made an impression on bowling experts. Marc McDowell, 5'8", 160 pounds. Close last week, 8th the week before. Tough break for Marc, leaving that 10 pin on the right lane.
Marc McDowell, Chris, is just a wonderful young player out of West Texas State also, as you see, has a very strong profile, 5-step delivery, slightly cupped at the top, has to guard against a bounce in his swing, gets low at the line, starts off with a nice shot that leaves a solid 10.
Average 224 on this championship pair, crossing it twice. In 4 years, he's earned $143,361. So today, an opportunity to win 30 grand, but he has to win 4 games and, of course, defeat his formidable opponent, Brian Voss, in the first game. I'm sure he'll say robbed again.
Back-to-back solid 10s. A little misfortune starting off for McDowell. I first met this young fellow in Madison, Wisconsin. I was doing an exhibition. He was fresh out of college, West Texas State, and I encouraged him to go on the Bowlers Tour, and right there in the bowling center, a group of people got enough money together to back him on the tour, and they still have started to reap the rewards.
So careless, hurried it, wry smile. He has an open frame and immediately trails by 12. Bad break.
Look at him off balance. You remember, we want to stay on balance at all shots, and sometimes a little carelessness with that 10-pin across lane. McDowell throws it hard. Didn't practice any of those cross lane spares in his half hour before we came on the air. Paid the penalty.
And couldn't trip the 4 on the right lane. Brian Voss, who had opened with a strike. If you've just joined us, the winner will meet Nathan Terry Jr., who led 3 of the rounds here, in 3rd position after 42 games.
The 4-pin, no problem for Voss. Cross lane to the left, a little easier than going to the right.
And he, too.
Well, there's only one thing you can say about that, Chris, is the center of the lane must have a lot of oil on it. Anytime you see players miss a 4-pin to the right and a 10-pin also to the right, the players are going across the center of the lane, and they're thinking they're going to get the same amount of hook as they get the outside of the lane. Lower surface friction caused the ball to slide too much.
Head-to-head competition, it's just never give up.
That's for sure, and I haven't seen 2 quality players like this miss easy spares like that any time in quite a while.
High hit leaves a 10-pin for a confused Brian Voss, 2-time All-Army champion when he was stationed at Mannheim, Germany.
And really a good spare play maker. I think where he learned to, as you look at the grip of Brian Voss, where he may learn to become such a good bowler as he bowled on so many tough lane conditions in Europe where you really had to work on your spares. Surprising to have an open early.
Probably some of our viewers asking why we haven't seen Brian. Well, last year, it was 2 months before he made his first TV appearance on the Winter Tour, and then went on to win the PBA National Championship in Toledo, along with the True Value in Peoria. Okay, now, a look at Marc McDowell. High hit moving to 3, 6, 9, 10.
One of the toughest spares in professional bowling. A bowling tip of the week, which we will be featuring later on in the year, will feature this shot. As you see, the ball of McDowell's cutting high, taking out the 6 pins on the left-hand part of the lane. And the key is the 9-pin, the pin behind the 3-pin, the double wood. You have to make sure you get enough power to carry that out.
Nice job. Marc McDowell, last week he had missed the top 5 by 1, and we asked him about the effect of that.
Well, it's frustrating getting that close, Bo, and missing by 1 pin. It's really a heartbreaker, but I think it made me more determined and more hungry this week coming in. I was used to the pressure, and it definitely helped me handle the pressure of the position around this week, and it made me more determined, and I think it helped me get through.
Very close match.
Carry it!
And Marc McDowell, former walk-on place kicker for the University of Wisconsin. First strike.
It's for you.
Only if they go in the toilet. Lanes 13 and 14, our championship pair, has been used many times here at Don Carter Lanes. Here's the oil pattern. I'll show you what the PBA has done. On lane 13, the oil is down there about 20 feet, and this is heavy oil. Then it goes a little bit lighter down here to 40 feet. This is light, and then it's dry right in this area for a hook area. Now here's the line that the players are playing. They're playing right around between the first and second arrows, going down, taking a sharp break into the 1-3 pocket. Both lanes are working about the same. When a player gets a hot hand, if he can carry the 10-pin, can shoot some real big scores here.
All right. Following a spare, now shooting in the 4th frame, Brian Voss. This is the 12th year we've come to the Don Carter Kendall Lanes. Two strikes and 4 frames.
The man who just has taken over professional bowling with his consistency, his style, and obviously his money winnings. Look at this style. Look at that pivot foot, that right foot in perfect position, the knee bend, the good extension, elbow almost completely locked. Nobody can bowl any better than Brian Voss is right now. You can get a hotter hand, but your form can't be any better.
Last year, 10 telecasts, 2 victories, and number 1. Suffering the 10-pin on the left lane now in this first match.
If there's any advantage, obviously Voss, the hot hand, the more experienced player, he has also bowled on this championship pair a number of times. He made a tour of 20 cities in Florida with me just 2 years back, Chris, and we did bowl on this championship pair while we're down here in Don Kendall Lanes, so he kind of knows them.
Each professional, 30-year-old Voss and 26-year-old McDowell, have had open frames. Coming in the 2nd for each. And now McDowell wants to double here to take a 10-pin lead. Strike working, shooting now in the 5th frame. Plagued by that 10 today, Nelson.
Not much he can do about it. He's scratching his head, and there's an old saying. I used to ask one of the great stylists of all time, Buddy Bomar, an old-timer you know very well, as you see the 6 go flying around the 10. He just could say when one round object hits another round object, they're not going to react exact same way every time because they aren't perfectly round, and I guess that's as good excuse as you can have. I'm sure McDowell doesn't want to hear it right now. He needs strikes.
Okay, and you mentioned Buddy Bomar, and of course your dad, Hall of Famer. Here we've got Don Carter. 3 of the several names that really put an impact on bowling in the earlier days, sort of the Arnold Palmers of the bowling.
They were the foundation people that made it possible for young men like myself and these fellows we see out here today to pursue this wonderful career. Now, McDowell coming up in the 6th frame match is all even.
Savored it, standing at the line for an extra length of time in this all-even match, but now up is Voss, spare working, shooting in the 6th, and you hear the pinfall of Dave Nathan Terry Jr., who will meet the winner of this game.
Voss checking his position on the approach, sets that ball right in the palm of his hand, no hand movement on the backswing, real good.
That'll make you wince to get another 10.
Well, this is something we did not see in the warm-up, and what has happened is a little bit of the oil or conditioner that I showed you on the left-hand lane profile is carried down, the ball sliding a little bit farther. It's causing the lanes to leave solid 10s. That will go away in a few minutes because the ball will start finishing just a little bit more, and the 6 will carry out the 10.
As we mentioned, Brian was the all-time money winner. Last year, we asked him what it meant.
Well, first of all, that's a lot of money. And at the same time, it's a good feeling to go down in the record books. You know, I certainly hope that it lasts for a couple of years, and at the same time, I'm going to try and beat it this year. It's just a great feeling. You know, I'm in the record books for a long time.
Okay, Voss in the 7th now, trailing by 1. Good mixing strike on the left lane, Brian Voss. Our first match of the Budweiser Classic from Miami.
From the frigid Great Lakes
An Alka-Seltzer Plus, that's all I ever needed.
to the icy mountains of Oregon,
It's been excellent for me.
more and more Americans are taking Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine. Fast, effective relief for tough winter colds.
In a word, it works.
Looks like Winter just did in that poor fellow's battery. Wonder if he's smart enough to replace it with a battery built for extremes. A maintenance-free, high-cranking Delco. Smart fella.
AC Delco parts. They don't just fit, they match.
Someday, every international air express company will have it all. 24-hour customer service, advanced tracking systems, and their own fleet of planes flying to Europe, Canada, and Japan. Just like Federal Express.
All right.
Until then, the others will just have to pretend.
Nice lightning.
Worldwide service from Federal Express.
Two really good guys. Mark Hargrave on the left, Budweiser Pro Sports Marketing Coordinator, and the man that founded the PBA from Akron, Eddie Elias.
Marc McDowell coming up in the 7th frame, having a chance to increase his lead of 1 to 11. He has a strike up. The match still in the balance.
Okay, using about 2/3 of their approach as he does, very compact, moving the line. And that double, Nelson, that's got to get the adrenaline going.
Sure enough, and he's a real competitor. I think anybody who has played college football and has had the courage to do what he has done will definitely not back down to anyone. I've watched Marc McDowell for 3 years out here in the tour. I saw him as an amateur. He believes in Marc McDowell. He's an aggressive player. He won't give this match to Voss, and right now he can take a 21-pin lead.
Collegiate bowling All-American. Received his business degree from West Texas State University. Now Voss. Strike up. He'll be shooting in the 8th.
The only thing that Brian Voss learned, I believe, in the last couple of years to make him the player of the year is become more aggressive in championship rounds, and this is where he needs to turn it on. The young man is pushing him. Voss trails by 21.
Now by 11. Can come within 1 with a strike on the left lane in the 9th frame.
Key shot of the match coming up. Brian Voss, he knew what he had to do. The 8th frame kept him in the match. Now the 9th will tighten the match up and make it just a 1-pin difference between he and Marc McDowell. Big, big shot.
To the pocket. Wonderful performance by Voss.
And this is a Brian Voss that we've seen in the last couple of years. The great form, the great talent. But look at this. That's the side he learned. He learned that he has to be tough to be a winner. And here's a guy who backs down from no one. The match is still in the balance. McDowell leads by 1.
He has strung 4. This collegiate bowler from Madison, Wisconsin.
Well, coming up, as the scoreboard tells the story, Marc McDowell has strung together 4 consecutive strikes. If he would strike in the 10th and 11th frames, he would shut out Brian Voss. Voss could not win. As of right now, Marc McDowell is going at a 2:18 pace. Brian Voss at a 2:07 pace.
Hit and a 9-pin.
McDowell just pulls that ball a little bit inside his target. The 3rd pin on the left-hand part of your screen. Watch it, the 2-pin. The head pin will hit into the 2-pin. There it goes, the sideboard twist between the 4 and 7s and does not take out the 9. The best McDowell can shoot is 217. Voss can still win the match.
For McDowell, it's his 5th television appearance in 4 years. Of course, his first this year, and now asking Harry Golden, tournament director, for a re-rack.
Little communication problem between tournament director Harry Golden and the crew that we have manning 13 and 14 here at the beautiful Don Carter Lanes, a 76-lane establishment.
.217 for Marc McDowell.
Brian Voss, coming up here in the 10th frame with 3 strikes working, must strike on this ball and the next ball to win. If he does not strike on either ball, he will lose the match. The winner goes on to meet the upstart power player Nathan Terry Jr. Must strike.
Incredible professional. Second challenge he has had to meet. Now he has one more.
Marc McDowell, he's decided his fate, or at least final score 217. Voss will decide his fate. If Voss gets a strike, he wins. If Voss does not strike, Marc McDowell wins the match.
I would think he can get one, huh?
Well, just stay behind the foul line for all purposes, obviously scoring purposes. Brian Voss needs 1 pin. He will be in the 220s. He's taking his time. He's checked the scoreboard. He might just throw this right down the middle of the lane. Exactly what he did.
And gets them all. Got a new line. Our player of the year, 227 to 217. Coming up, Voss against Nathan Terry Jr.
For great personal service and low everyday prices, check the lineup at your neighborhood True Value hardware store, where good things are cooking in the February bargain of the month. The 4-piece Pyrex Fireside Bakeware set by Corning can be used for cooking or serving. You get a roaster, covered casserole, and handy loaf pan. In February, get all 4 Corning pieces for just $8.88 where you see the banner at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
Big ball game tonight. Come on, stick the ball in the goal. Go! Shot!
If this is what Wally Massimino is going through on the outside, you can guess what's happening inside. So if a big game follows a big meal, he reaches for relief, Rolaids, and acid. For millions, nothing, absolutely nothing works better for heartburn and acid indigestion. And Raleigh can keep up his buttoned-down image. Get relief. You know how to spell it.
Monday, a revolution in learning. Hands-on training outside the classroom. It's helping kids do better in school. Monday, watch ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Hi.
Henry Block talks with concerned taxpayers.
After the sweeping tax changes we've had in the last couple of years, everybody's asking questions. They really don't understand what all the changes mean to them.
Yeah, we weren't aware of these returns that we had coming to us. We didn't know.
They were very informative, very relaxed. They explained every step.
I wouldn't switch for nobody.
Join us at H&R Block and get the maximum refund you're entitled to.
I think it's great.
Well,
and now keep on coming.
Friends Pub, where there's always something going on daily, featuring a fabulous new menu of sandwiches, platters, and 17 great varieties of Bren burgers. Also, daily lunch and dinner specials. Friends Pub, located at Comedy Park Lanes. 36 remodeled lanes and the newest AccuScore automatic scoring make Comedy Park the place to be for bowling and enjoyment. Plus, every Friday and Saturday evening, it's MTV night when you can see and hear your favorite videos while you bowl. For family and friends, Comedy Park Lanes and Friends Pub, just off Route 30 on Pennsylvania Avenue, York.
The USA Today on TV 27, weeknights at 7:30.
The Professional Bowlers Tour, brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By True Value Hardware. For quality selection and personal attention, make True Value Hardware your store first choice. And by Johnson's Baby Shampoo from Johnson & Johnson.
In the Budweiser Classic, the first game has ended. A total of 14 strikes. Brian Voss with 8 wins it to Marc McDowell's 217, Voss 227, as you see. We're at Don Carter's Kendall Lanes here in Miami, Florida. Most unusual person, Don Carter and his wife Paula, as you will see now. Considered by many the greatest bowler ever, Don Carter won the World Championship 6 times and dominated the sport during the 1960s. His success in bowling has continued into the business world. The Kendall Lanes are just one of his 13 bowling centers. Despite his tremendous success, Don has not lost what has made him so very special, his compassion. Not far from the Kendall Lanes here in Miami is the Carter Crisis Nursery. It's one of 3 shelters started by Don and his wife Paula for abused and neglected children. Nearly 400 of these innocent victims of parental mistreatment are loved and cared for each year in the Carter homes. State funds provide very little, so Don is very generous with both his time and money while trying to save children from the horror of child abuse. Yes, funds also come from private donations.
Well, I got involved about 7 or 8 years ago. My wife Paula got me interested. The Parent Resource Center she had been with for some time, and she's on their board of directors now. And she brought me down to the Crisis Nursery Center and showed me what was going on and the tremendous need we had. I think it's the duty of the people to take care of these kids and the parents so it doesn't happen, and we hope we can make some kind of a dent in that situation.
Ah, yes, 2 people that care. Paula Carter and her husband, Don. Pro celebrity event here with a lot of professional stars bowling with the pros. Picked up $5,300 for the Crisis Center.
Some of those celebrities, Jose Canseco bowled with Brian Voss, Tony Nathan, who is in the audience, also bowled, former Dolphin player.
And the winner of the first game left the 10 pin, 227 to Marc McDowell's 217. Now, he goes against Marc McDowell's buddy named Nathan Terry Jr. There he is.
Heat could be a little bit of factor here today. As you alluded to, the temperature is forecasted to be in the 80s, if not there already, and a little bit warm in the building right now.
Half a sticking at the line by Brian Voss. But isn't it pleasant to be in South Florida?
Very much so, Chris. The biggest change I've ever seen between the North and the South in all the years I've come down to Florida is just wonderful, and kind of my thoughts go out to everybody in the whole country almost. Now, watch this young man. He really puts some stuff on a bowling ball. If he hits them thin, they will spin.
Just like that. Just like that. Interesting replay of a profile.
Young power player has watched the Pro Bowlers Tour, 5-step delivery. He delays the ball in his swing. Right here, he starts cocking that wrist underneath the ball, drives in the pivot step, and just unloads with his wrist. And obviously, those 3-pound, 8-ounce pins had no chance with that much power. He's sporadic, though, Chris. He charged with 2 270 games to make the top 5, and yet he had a 130 and a 140 in the tournament. So anything can happen. This is his first appearance on television. Look at his position on the approach.
How could anybody be so far to the left of center on the approach, Bo?
Well, I'll tell you, you go back to names way back, we were talking about the old-timers like Andy Verapapa, Buddy Bomar, Ned Day. A name that always stood out was Stan Slominski. Not many people have ever heard of him, but he used to throw the ball like that. Tremendous power ball. It's now in fashion today, but by and large, follow this style right here.
Often like the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, but that one a little offline, and it's the 3-6-9-10 for the winner of the first game, Brian Voss.
And watch how he attacks these 3-6-9-10. He's going to go across lane, and he has to really be sharp to make sure his ball carries out that back 9 pin. A lot of the pros like to shoot it down the right-hand side.
Just does cover them. 2 spares for Voss. He trails by 14. Dave Ferraro, who will meet the winner of this game, is warming up off to our right. And, of course, our tournament leader is gregarious Randy Pedersen. This is the cover boy. A 4.
Looks like he's trying to get fancy. You know, momentum is such a key thing in all sports, and Voss was really keyed up as he defeated Marc McDowell there with a strong finish. And you see the ball drifting slightly high here for Voss. All 3 balls on the first shot have been high in this match, and it's just not quite the speed that he finished the previous match with. He needs to get his momentum back.
Third spare for Voss. Now, in the 3rd frame with a double up, here is the leader after the 4th and 5th rounds of the Budweiser Classic, 175-pound Nathan Terry Jr. So it's the 2, 4, and 8.
With that big strike ball that he rolls down there, it's so important that he gets a little bit easy spares to shoot at. His ball sends very wide. He leaves the 2, 4, and 8, not such an easy spare. And this young man kind of reminds me of Wayne Webb. When Wayne Webb came up, Wayne had that tremendous strike ball, but it really struggled with spares. Let's see how Nathan does in this shot.
Earlier we asked Nathan Terry how he got his experience to bowl out here on the Pro Tour.
Well, I received a scholarship at West Texas State University, and we traveled across the country and competed, and it gave me the experience I needed to compete here out on tour.
Okay, a lot of collegiate bowlers now. It's a great sport. Over 100 colleges and universities. They have tremendous tournaments, team and individual competition.
And a lot of scholarships available.
Strike in the 4th frame. Nathan Terry Jr. putting the pressure on the winner of the first game, Brian Voss.
For the pride, for the dream, for the love, for the team, for the sweat, for the drive, for the reason you strive.
For all you do, the clean, crisp taste of Beechwood aged Budweiser.
For years, you've seen some commercials where one battery outlasts the others, so you may have assumed their battery outlasts even Energizer. Fact is, Energizer was never invited to their playoffs, and today's Energizer won't be invited either. Why? Because no battery lasts longer than Energizer. So now you know. A word to the wise. Energize.
Top figure skating pairs compete in the World Challenge of Champions. Plus America's Tamara McKinney and the World Alpine Ski Championships next on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
You're looking at Brian Voss, who bowled while we were away. 2 strikes. Big double for Nathan Terry, increasing his lead to 12. And the reason we bowl through is because we have 90 minutes. That's our time period. and we got to get it all in. And with slow play or a great number of spares, many reasons it is slow play, we have to bowl through in order to bring you a winner.
And right now, the leader is Nathan Terry. Junior leads by 12 pins coming up in the 6th frame. He got on the tour, Chris, by selling shares in himself. 300 people bought $50 shares, so I'm sure he has a lot of rooters in Amarillo, Texas.
Oh, with a performance like that, their investment looks sound. Wow.
That ball is covering so many boards, it's unbelievable. He's laying the ball down about the 20th board, which is a little bit left the center of the lane, starting it all the way out to about the 2nd board, 18 board belly, and then hooking it back 16 more to the 1-3 pocket. But an unperturbed Brian Voss stands up there ready to challenge.
He had that double working. He really wanted the 3rd.
The action of the 2-pin, the 3rd pin on the left-hand part of your screen is the key pin. It'll go to the sideboard. You'll see the 4-9 split standing. There's the 4-9. The 2 comes back, kicks out the 4, and when you really have it going, the 4 will jump into the 10.
Oh, man, today demonstrating how to shoot single-pin spares. By the way, Bo, your tip of the week?
The tip of the week is one of my favorites. It's the release. How to get the proper lift and power on a bowling ball. Like these 2 pros, we bring it down in slow motion so you can see the action of the hand as it comes through the bowling ball. Very important that everybody gets some power on that ball to get more strikes.
Our viewers will love it.
Voss trailing by 23, 7th frame.
Jeff Joynes, he won the first match over Marc McDowell, 227 to 217. More of the 2nd game following this.
With an 8-foot bed, South Dakota is all work. With a 3.9-liter V6, North Dakota is all play. The unique mid-size Dodge Dakota. 2 pickups for the price of 1.
Save up to $3,000 on selected trucks during the Big Dodge Truck Push.
For great personal service and low everyday prices, check the lineup at your neighborhood True Value hardware store, where good things are cooking in the February bargain of the month. The 4-piece Pyrex fireside bakeware set by Corning can be used for cooking or serving. You get a roaster, covered casserole, and handy loaf pan. In February, get all 4 Corning pieces for just $8.88 where you see the banner at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
Fun and sun, surf and turf, strikes and spares. Look for it all at the Bowlers Journal Florida Open next week on ABC's Pro Bowlers Tour.
As we're trying to make up time lost by slow play, again while we're away, Voss did it previous. Now, Terry doubled in the 7th and 8th frames. What a performance. Pressure on Voss, strike up shooting in the 8th.
Biggest shot of the match right there is Brian Voss. The best he can get right now is 224. The ball drifts slightly high. Once again, the 2-pin does not trip out the 4. Voss has had no good luck on the high hits. And Nathan Terry right now is going at a fabulous 247 pace. So Voss has to do 2 things. 1, get real lucky and hope Terry slows down and quits striking. And secondly, he must strike in the 9th, 10th, and 11th frames. He's in a must situation.
His first win last year came in March at the Trust Corp PBA National Championship in Toledo. Started slow, but came on to be Player of the Year. Hey, at the last moment, the 10 goes.
You want to see a great shot? Watch the action of the head pin as it goes to the sideboard and comes all the way back and knocks out the 10. Look at that head pin goes to the sideboard. You don't even see it in your frame. Now here it comes all the way back, rolls across the lane, and adios, 10-pin. Voss stays in the match. A great break. His power finally pays off.
and our rookie on television, his very first television appearance. He's bowled in 8 frames, 7 strikes.
And Chris, he can slam the door with a strike here in the 9th. Nothing Voss can do.
Or 6, 7, 10.
And one of the dangers of the big power ball is left the door wide open. What Terry must do is he try to get over here in the 6-10 zone, either slide the 6 over into the 4 or bounce one of them out of the kickback and knock out the other 2. But at best, he just go for 2 pins, save the count.
From 43 down to a 25-pin lead.
And for Mr. Terry, the situation for him has gone from lockjaws, he had the match locked up, to a possibility of losing. He needs to get a mark here in the 10th frame and at least 6 pins to win now. He's trying to stay the scoreboard on the side. Striker spare and a good count, he wins. Otherwise, Voss can still take the match.
Steady performance. Ooh.
Well, that's the easiest spare to get. What do you think, Chris? Just put all that power and torque it up, go right in the 1-3 pocket. You can't miss any of those spares when they're down on the first shot. And obviously, he has 2 balls to get 6 pins and end up with 225 or better to shut out Voss. The best Voss can do is 224. It looks like it's going to be Nathan Terry Jr. against the very tough Dave Ferraro in the semifinal.
So we've had 2 games. Voss won the first. Nathan Terry, a rookie on TV, has won the second. His opponent is the man on the left, Dave Ferraro.
A question that I am often asked in the sport of bowling is, what is lift? By definition, lift is the act of getting enough power on the bowling ball to effectively and consistently strike when the ball enters the 1-3 pocket for a right-hander or the 1-2 pocket for a left-hander. Now let's see how we get that lift on a bowling ball. First 2 steps in the sport of bowling are momentum steps. The key is getting the ball to the apex of the swing about shoulder level with that wrist cocked and the hand underneath the ball. Notice the right foot. It's in what we call the pivot position. At this point, it'll begin pushing off hard into that last step. As the arm comes down next to the body, the wrist stays underneath the ball. Now, as the thumb comes out of the ball, the wrist rotates counterclockwise around the ball with a good high follow-through for maximum lift.
Now let Bo help you score even more. You'll also fix problems, improve strategy, and practice smarter with Bo Burton's new bowling video.
This video is for you.
ABC Sports brings you Bo Burton's instructional video, Score More. Just $24.98 plus $3 shipping. Call 1-800-4ABC-VCR. That's 1-800-4ABC-VCR.
Well, I was worried about my hair because I participate in a lot of sports. I have to shampoo every day. And a lot of times I'll shampoo 2-3 times a day. And I worried till I used my daughter's Johnson's baby shampoo.
Johnson's cleans hair clean, leaves hair healthy looking, no matter how much you shampoo.
My hair feels clean using Johnson's baby shampoo, and it feels healthy. And those are the important things to me.
The more you shampoo, the more you need Johnson's.
So, hey, I think I'm doing the right thing for my hair.
They weren't expecting a 70-year-old coach, that's for sure. But I held my own.
All right, come on, come on.
They never even saw how scared I was. I wouldn't have tried for this job if it hadn't been for AARP. They've got a program that convinces employers that it's smart to hire people like me. I'm not old. People are people. Some of us have just had a little more practice. That's all.
AARP, making a difference.
And Nathan Terry Jr. eliminates the last year's Player of the Year, Brian Voss, 239, 192, 10 strikes. Great performance by the West Texas State bowler, and he now will face Dave Ferraro. And next, the bowlers continue to stay in Florida, Nelson, with the Bowlers Junior Florida Open on the East Coast, Merritt Island, and then to New Orleans, Louisiana.
Another favorite spot. And here's the numbers for this week. There were over 1,000 players in the Pro-Am, featuring some of the great people around here, such as Jose Canseco. There were 3 300s. The size of the field, 130 they have there, but it's really 160. The average game was 204. And the top 24, let's take a look at Dave Traver just missed. Dave Bowles, Berardi steady, Harold Sullivan's a legend, Westlake, Scott Deaver's a lefty, Mats Carlson from Sweden, Ray Perez, a great amateur turned pro. Watch this guy Moser, he looks great. U.S. Open champion Husted. One of my favorite guys, George Branham III, Shortcut Zurich, Chris Warren, the little ball, the Hall of Famer Sutar, Todd Thompson, Ted Hanna's, Licklider, Steve Wonderlich from last week. Del Ballard replaced David Ozio, who had to withdraw because of a hand injury. That is the top 24. Chris Dale Strike got $1,060 for 53rd place, last in the cash.
Okay. Up first is one of the 3 men to bowl with 300 this week, Nathan Terry Jr. He joined Randy Pedersen, our tournament leader, and tiny Chris Warren. There you see Dave Ferraro of Kingston, New York. Won 4 PBA titles. None for this man, yet. Well, a 3, 4, 6, 7, 10. What do we do here, Bo?
Chris is very makeable split, and usually only the crankers get this type of split. And what he has to do is get the ball over to the 3-6 area and drive that 3-pin over into the 4-7 area, and he can convert this split. It's not as difficult as it seems.
Cut break. And a player from Amarillo, Texas. Here's his reaction.
He knows he's going to be close. It's just getting a little luck with that 3-pin kicking off the sideboard. Son of a gun. Now, here's my pick. The very tough clutch player, Dave Ferraro.
Nice mixing strike on the right lane for the 29-year-old from Kingston, New York. A lot of his family here today in person to cheer him on.
The Ferraro family own 2 bowling centers in the Kingston area, a 26-lane center and a 32-lane center in Beacon, New York.
And their harness horses as well.
They were involved. His dad was a harness race driver before he got involved in the bowling business. Now Ferraro to take an early commanding lead.
So very consistent. Now, after an open frame, let's see what Nathan Terry does here in the second frame. It's his second match. Crossing over almost, leaving 6-10.
Nathan Terry reminds me a lot of a young Amleto Monicelli, or as I said before, Wayne Webb when they came up. They put so much on the bowling ball, sometimes accuracy goes by the wayside, and right now, Nathan Terry is struggling hitting the 1-3 pocket. It makes no difference how much you get on the ball if it doesn't end up in the right place.
Another good tip. The man with a lot of torque. That helps make race cars go fast.
Nathan Terry, who went to college on a bowling scholarship, as we said earlier, operates and owns a pro shop in Amarillo, Texas in the off-season.
If you're wondering where West Texas State is located, Canyon, Texas, not far from Amarillo. So Nathan is going to try to cover a 6-9-10.
Let's take a look at this power release and the position he ends up on the approach. There's no more room for him. Here he carries the ball through the first 2 steps of the height of his backswing, then he just unleashes that wrist. A little bit of loft over the foul. And look how far left he is on the approach for his strike ball. Where does he go? He's going to have a hard time adjusting.
All right, covered those 3. But the man in the red shirt has opened with a double. Third frame coming up before a capacity crowd here at Don Carter's Kendall Lanes. About a half hour from the Miami airport. Three in a row. Take a closer, slower look at his profile.
I like the style of Dave Ferraro. Everything in control, five-step delivery. Look at the height of his backswing, even below shoulder level, but he gets so much momentum in his approach. He takes the full approach, gets a long slide. He's a little bit upright at the foul line. That's very important, obviously, that he has the right shoes for each bowling center, and he's really diligent about locking those up. But right now, he can put this match almost out of reach in 4 frames.
Had a big win in Calgary as well as here in the United States, his 4 PBA titles. More after this.
What's that? He's got our flashlight. Over there.
Good monkey. But Ed said Bud Light.
If you want the one light that outshines them all, ask for Bud Light, because everything else is just a light.
So hard to get good help.
How fast does Dristan nasal spray start to work?
Faster than Dolly can pick up a $5 tip.
Dristan works fast to relieve nasal congestion, even sinus pressure. For relief,
faster than a fan on a hot day.
Try Dristan nasal spray. It's faster than...
I don't ask why, and I don't ask how, because I already know where. Right here.
Ace Tall Kitchen Drawstring Trash Bags are just $177, and 6 pairs of Loving Hands latex gloves are $288.
Hey, Ace is the place for me.
One of the most powerful teams in the country, number 2 Illinois, takes on Big Ten rival Iowa. Or Kentucky meets Georgia tomorrow on ABC's College Basketball.
2 stalwarts on the right in the shades. Tony Nathan, the mighty Miami Dolphin, in transition now. Going to take up some coaching. On the left, the president of the PBA, Johnny Petraglia, who was inducted into the Italian-American Hall of Fame.
That's a great honor for Johnny, along with some other bowlers, Carmen Salvino, and some famous names such as Ted Hendricks and Tommy Lasorda. Now, right now, Nathan Terry, 4th frame, must get some strikes.
He does. The championship pair here at Kendall Lanes. And speaking of a pair, tomorrow on ABC, 4 Eastern Time, a regional live doubleheader. 2 great games. Illinois battling Iowa, Kentucky taking on nemesis Georgia.
And Illinois, a lot of trouble without Kendall Gill. He'll be out for about 10 weeks. And, of course, Iowa has no losses at home. Could give Illinois some trouble. Kentucky, I think, will have no trouble with Georgia, Chris. But watch Illinois. Now, this man must strike again.
Big double because his opponent, Ferraro, has 4 in a row and will be shooting now in the 5th.
The real positive of that little 60-second break we had between the 4th and 5th frames showed up right there for this young man, Nathan Terry. He was struggling in the first 3 frames, wasn't even close. Got a little breather, almost like a little timeout for him. And he's regained his composure, put 2 strikes together against a man who is just about unflappable, Dave Ferraro. 4 in a row, 5th frame.
String broken at 4, and he has left the 3-6.
He'll go across lane for this. The young man who's had a history of wrist problems. He always has his wrist wrapped in at least a wrist device to hold it. He says he hasn't had much trouble for the last 1.5 years, but he's always worried about it.
And then chopped the 6 off the 3.
David, always a quick player, a little bit nonchalant. Jumps up there, takes the 3-6 for granted, slides right by the 3-pin, smacks the 6 right in the face, but has left the door wide open for Nathan Terry Jr., a mistake that you will not see Dave Ferraro make very often. Let's see if he can regain his composure here and get back on the strike string.
3 big misses here on our telecast today. Nathan Terry. And we look at the Ferraros here. This is Lorraine and Jack Ferraro, David's parents, and Grandma Antoinette is here as well. They're on the right of your screen.
Nathan Terry, who just got the biggest break of his life in the championship round, needs to capitalize on it right here in the 6th frame. Can cut the lead to 11.
How could it?
Unbelievable. One of the worst breaks you can have in professional bowling. He leaves a solid 7. Watch the action of the 4-pin. It'll go across the sideboard. It'll normally take out the 7-pin, but what happens? The 4 gets driven right straight back. Too much power. The 2 slides by the 7. Nathan Terry must settle for a spare. He could have cut the lead to 11. Now the best he can do is trail by 22.
We're in our semifinal match. The winner of this game will meet the tournament leader from California, Randy Pedersen, a winner earlier this year, the AC Delco Classic.
Winners earlier this year, Del Ballard Jr. with 2 titles. He won Las Vegas and the Quaker State last week, is the roommate of Nathan Terry Jr., and Nathan credits Del for keeping him calm this week in his charge to the championship round. Now, 7th frame, Nathan Terry trails by 22, spare working.
Leaving the 9.
Well, that's the break that a player can get sometimes. When he goes high, he can have that 2-pin go to the sideboard and trip out the 4. Watch the action of this pin here. The 2 will come between the 4 and knock out the 9. Doesn't happen.
All right. It's fair coming in the 7th, 23 pins. That's the lead held by Ferraro in the red shirt. We'll be back.
Last year, Ebonite took you to a new plateau of excellence on oily lanes with the Thunderbolt. Now the Thunder rolls on with the new Thunderbolt MD for medium to dry lanes. The same devastating power core and an exclusive new MD cover that makes it hunt down the pocket and hit harder with less deflection on medium to dry lanes. Make some thunder of your own. Ask your pro about the Thunderbolt MD from Ebonite.
Here's why these members of the United States ski team prefer Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine.
I came down with some mean cold symptoms. I was congested, I was tired, I couldn't breathe through my nose. I took Alka-Seltzer Plus and it helped to remove those cold symptoms.
I've got a number of guys that are depending on me, and I have to be out there the next day. And Alka-Seltzer Plus really helps me do that.
Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine. Fast, effective relief for tough winter colds. Try Alka-Seltzer Plus nighttime cold medicine to relieve your cold at night.
Fun and sun, surf and turf, strikes and spares. Look for it all at the Bowlers Journal Florida Open next week on ABC's Pro Bowlers Tour.
Back again at Don Carter's Kendall Lanes in Miami for the $160,000 Budweiser Classic, the first of 2 on our winter tour this year. Next will be in North Olmsted, Ohio. Here's a man of his 4 victories. 2 of them have been Budweiser events.
Leads by 23. 7th frame can extend to 33.
Leaving a 4-7.
David, just a pinch confused on the right-hand lane as our statistician Palmer Fahlgren indicates that he has struggled in the 5th and 7th frames on that particular lane. With this conversion, he would still lead by 23.
Okay, Dave Ferraro. We asked him how he feels about making a championship round so many times with Brian Voss.
Well, I think there's a couple of reasons. Last year, we're both coming off our best year yet, and I think we have similar roles. We both loft the ball out on the lane, and I think we have pretty similar styles.
7 of 9 times. $150,000 last year for Dave.
Boy, you just cannot walk down the lane and place it in the 1-3 pocket more nicely than David did in that particular shot. He was nice and relaxed, went up there in the 8th room, and bang, strike.
Oh, you love to pick winners. Starting at 4 Eastern tomorrow, regional doubleheader, Illinois, Iowa, Kentucky, Georgia.
Iowa will give Illinois all it can handle. I think Kentucky will just romp over Georgia, Chris.
Okay.
Now, Nathan Terry, 8th frame, 23 pins in arrears, needs some strikes.
Left with a 6 and a headache.
Well, the match is not over, but Nathan Terry is not giving himself his best chance to win. He's kind of lost his form, lost a little bit of that composure. And win or lose this match, he needs to go back and look at his videotape and understand what happened to him in this game. It's a little bit of his concentration and keeping his eyes on the target.
You'll remember that he eliminated Brian Voss 239 to 192, totaling 10 strikes in that second match. Voss winning the first over Marc McDowell 227 to 217.
Nathan Terry, with strikes in the 9th, 10th, and 11th frames, can be up to 212. Dave Ferraro going at a 216 pace. It's up to Terry to pressure David right now.
High hit, plenty of action, foundation strike in the 9th.
Well, that's the first time the 4-pin did its job all day long. Nathan goes up high, the 2 goes to sideboard, trips out to 4-7. He's kept himself in the match, puts some pressure on Ferraro, 9th frame. David can close the door, though.
Crossing over, leaving the 10.
Well, he's looking back and says, hey, I went high, I moved to the left. I went light, I moved to the right. What do? I moved in deeper, I went straight, the ball didn't hold. I'm lucky. Right now I just need 2 spares to get out of this match, figure it out, and go against Randy Pedersen.
Decisions.
Well, one of the key things in match play competition, this is for league bowlers too, whether you're bowling 5-man or just a heads-up match, is when you're hitting one particular lane, as Ferraro is hitting the left-hand lane. That's his choice lane to finish on. Don't lose that lane. It's more important to really keep one lane zeroed and keep your mind on it and try to figure out individually each lane. Don't let the bad luck on 14 carry over to 13. And Ferraro right now needs to fill 17 frames in this 10th, 17 pins in the 10th to win.
Come on, ball.
10 of them right there. Remember, our tournament leader is warming up off to the right. Colorful Randy Pedersen.
The upright style of Dave Ferraro. See you later. Slam the door. One of the great clutch players in the game. He needs 7 pins on 2 balls to defeat Nathan Terry. Nathan will be back, but Dave Ferraro is going against Randy Pedersen for all the Budweiser money. See ya.
All right, David Ferraro seeking his 5th PBA title, and a man that already has 5, Randy Pedersen, his opponent.
It's a bunker. 1, 2, 3, 4. Michael Jordan, 3 posters on Wheaties boxes.
Beautiful rooms come in a can. A can of True Test Easy Care paint from True Value Hardware. Easy Care is spatter resistant to go on neatly, and it comes in 4 finishes and hundreds of decorator colors. So whether it's soft, subtle flat finish, rich velvety flat enamel, scrubbable semi-gloss enamel, or brilliant gloss enamel, start your beautiful rooms with True Test Easy Care paint from participating True Value Hardware stores and home centers.
Oh, I love a good mystery, like, what's on Growing Pains this week?
There's only one Columbo. Monday at 9, 8 Central, The Legend returns.
Matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match. Find me a find, catch me a catch. Matchmaker, matchmaker, you want a book that finds me my perfect match. Matchmaker, matchmaker, show me it all. I'm on my way with just a call. Matchmaker, matchmaker, look through the book and make me a perfect match.
Nobody plays
is matchmaker better than the genuine Bell of Pennsylvania Yellow Pages? We should know. We've been doing it for over 100 years, matching more people looking to buy with more people looking to sell. The Bell of Pennsylvania Yellow Pages gives you the most ads and the most choices. No wonder it's the most used book around. The genuine Bell of Pennsylvania Yellow Pages. No other book can match it.
Live with Regis and Kathy Lee.
Weekdays at 9 on WHTM TV 27.
This is Frank Gifford in Vail Beaver Creek, Colorado, home of the World Alpine Ski Championships. The scheduled men's downhill will not be run today because of the heavy snow, and it is heavy. But just ahead of 4:30 Eastern on ABC's Wide World of Sports, you'll see American Tamara McKinney go for the gold in the women's combined event. You also won't want to miss the pairs figure skating competition from the World Challenge of Champions. And we'll have our regular Athlete of the Week feature. It's all coming up next at 4:30 Eastern on Wide World of Sports. Now back to bowling and Chris Schenkel.
Look at that, 3 different winners in as many games. Ferraro, 7 strikes, goes into the final match, 216 to 190, and now it's Randy Pedersen. Right now, it's Nelson Burton Jr. with an Ask Bo guest.
Well, thank you, Chris. Many of the Ask Bo questions we've had in the last few weeks have been like this. Where is Pete Weber? Well, instead of having to read the answer, I brought the man himself. Pete Weber, you've been on a 4.5 months, let's say, conduct suspension. What have you been doing during that time?
Well, I really haven't been doing much. I've been practicing here and there. Basically, I've been taking care of myself. I've straightened up a little bit. I've gained about 25 pounds. I'm solid, and I feel real good.
Well, you're back bowling now, and you're really going forward. Let's say I watched you bowl this week. I crossed next to you, and you looked a little bit out of shape. How's your bowling coming along, and when do you expect to peak again?
Well, this week, I wasn't really expecting much this week. I bowled satisfactory for the way I bowled. I know it's going to take a couple weeks to get back into the swing of things, but I say by New Orleans I'll be ready to go.
Well, let me ask you one last question. Who's the best bowler in the world today?
I am.
All right. That sums it up, Chris. Pete Weber's back on the tour. We wish him the best. He'll be in our championship round soon, I hope, and we're ready for some more action.
Okay, thank you, Bo, and you have to admire anybody that comes back from adversities, whipping problems. Our friend Pete Weber, Dick's son, Juanita's son. All right, Ferraro in red, winning the semifinal match, now meets Randy Pedersen of California. 5 championships, including the AC Delco Classic this year. Second time he had won that. So you got 2 that really like to win certain type of events. Ferraro, 2 Budweiser events. And he has left a 2-pin opening shot championship match.
The very tough Dave Ferraro, but he has one thing going against him today. Nobody has won 2 consecutive matches. The winner of the first match, Voss, went down to Nathan Terry Jr. Nathan Terry Jr. went down to Ferraro. Ferraro has to really get it going to beat a tough Randy Pedersen.
So it's a mark. And in the black shirt, at 6'2", 185 pounds, from Santa Maria, California, Randy Pedersen. Moved from 9th to 1st in the final 8 games of competition.
And nobody from the #1 position has won this year. Our 5th week, there have been 4 #1 players have gone down to defeat. Randy trying to be the first.
Looks extremely relaxed as his cheering section lays it on.
We talked to Pete Weber, and you also see another great player with the high backswing. Watch Randy Pedersen. He gets that ball up well above his shoulder, locks that right leg on the pivot step, then drives down very deep, that 6 feet 2-inch frame, and look at the extension and follow through. That much leverage and that much ability, it's difficult to beat, as he started very conspicuously with a strike. And there's how he got there in his 42 games. He's right near the top all the way through the tournament.
That one's sliding by, leaving the 2-4-5. He's got a split between his bowling hand and the thumb and the first finger.
Well, Chris, it's a split you get that's sometimes so aggravating to are difficult to get to heal up because that's where the pressure comes as you release the bowling ball and as you hold on to it. As you see him insert his thumb in the bowling ball, that split obviously is well patched with cotton and collodion, and it shouldn't bother him today, but it's aggravating.
Ample speed. Good job by Randy Pedersen. He won the 1987 PBA National Championship in Toledo. Title that this man will win someday, I predict.
I think you have made a wise choice. Lane conditions favor his style.
And the baby split now, 310 for Ferraro.
Dave Ferraro, as he drifts high, he goes right through the middle and ends up with the what we call the baby split, the 310. A split that the pros, in order to be successful and to make a living out here in the tour, have to make at least 50% of the time.
Very professional.
This young man, Dave Ferraro, once he said he liked to play basketball a lot, and he was playing junior basketball once upon a time. He decided it wasn't a career for him. He got the opening tip-off, went down to the opponent's goal and shot a basket in. He says, well, that's the wrong sport for me, and I think he's kind of made a wide choice here. As he's one of the top pros in the country, an All-American.
Another high hit, the 6-7-10, which was difficult for him last night, split in the 10th frame.
Well, he goes right through the middle of the pins, and he leaves the 6-7. He has to get the 6 pin and slide it over into the 7 to be successful with this particular shot. You'll see the pin standing. The 3 pin doesn't take out either the 6 or 10.
Talk about professionalism. There you are. Missed it last night, and it cost him.
I'll tell you what, David Ferraro was just kind of in the doldrums. He was in a quandary out there. He's wondering what he has to do, and all of a sudden he woke himself up, and let's see what effect that has on Randy Pedersen. Historically, the championship match at Don Carter Lanes here has been close and low scoring.
We asked him what he does, Randy does, for fun when he's not bowling.
Well, the thing I like to do most for fun, I think, is go downtown real early, find the best parking space, sit in my car and keep track of how many people ask me if I'm leaving or not. Or going to the library and watching people read is another one of my hobbies. No, actually, I like to play a lot of golf. I have friends at home that I play golf with. I'm like a 36 holes a day kind of guy. And just anything that doesn't involve manual labor, I like to do.
Stand-up comedian.
7 handicap golfer.
And it's a 10 pin that plagues him on the left lane now.
This lane and this match will be so determining. Randy Pedersen seems to have the best shot. He's playing what I call a safety shot. He's towards the center of the lane. He's not getting much ball reaction as there's a lot of oil in the center of the lane. So he should not be very wild, but it'll be difficult as you see him move to the extreme left of the approach to go cross lane for the 10 pin. He should not have much trouble hitting the pocket. It'll be hard to get strings where Ferraro is attacking the pocket, so he might shoot anything.
Looking at that split between the thumb and the first finger. But he said he was bowling so well, no way he was going to quit. We'll be back.
It took 2,000 years, but a revolutionary discovery is changing the way men think about coloring their gray hair. It's called Just for Men, from the leader in men's hair coloring. Simply apply Just for Men, and in 5 minutes, shampoo out. Your gray is blended away, leaving your natural-looking color. 5 minutes. Here, look at me. Just for Men leaves your hair looking healthy and fuller, and it won't fade or wash out. Just for Men, in the men's hair care section.
Some people take chances on car maintenance, but I don't. Give me AC filters every time. AC filters match the original specs on my cars like a nut on a bolt.
AC Delco parts. They don't just fit, they match.
I don't ask why, and I don't ask how, because I already know where. Right here.
Ace Tall Kitchen Drawstring Trash Bags are just $177, and 6 pairs of Loving Hands Latex Gloves are $288.
Hey, Ace is the place for me.
Here's a look at the Budweiser Kingpin standings coming into this tournament. Parker Bohm III was in first place. You see Pedersen in third. Budweiser sponsoring a $50,000 pointless competition which will run through the winter and spring tours. Players finishing among the top 24 will be awarded points in each Budweiser sponsored event, and they will be doubled. In other words, not 125 for winning today, but 250.
And I think that the winner of this match will probably take the lead. Obviously, Randy Pedersen will definitely be in contention for first or second. Now, Ferraro trails by 5, has struggled through the first 3 frames, needs to get something going here in the 4th.
High hit. Made the conversion in the previous frame, but this time it's a 4, 6, 7.
Not much he can do with this when the pins are directly across like the 4 and 6. All he can do is take the 4-7, hopefully he can bounce the 4 out and knock it into the 6 pin here. So I think Ferraro will just take his time, make the 4-7, and go on to the next frame.
All right. Won the previous match, as you remember, over Nathan Terry, 216 to 190 with 7 strikes. Here going against Randy Pedersen, early in the match, trailing by 19, and let's see what he does in the 5th after the open.
I think Ferraro has the line on lane 13. He's kind of struggled a little bit in the first and third frames here, but he knows how to hit this left lane 13. It's 14 he has to key in on.
All right, keying in beautifully on 13. And now Pedersen with a spare-up shooting in the 5th. This is the title match.
And you saw Dave Ferraro turn to his father and ask for a little advice. I've had my father sit in that same seat. There's not much they can tell him. The only thing I can say is just hope Randy doesn't run away from you and get some breaks.
Looking carefully at how the pins have been placed by the setter. I guess he agreed with the way they were there, didn't ask for a re-reg.
A little trouble, though, with that thumb that you talked about earlier, Chris, as you see him put some rosin on that thumb that split open. It looked like in the 4th frame. He fixed it up during the last commercial break, and right now he's got himself in a position to really take a commanding lead in this match. The full grip, tucks that pinky finger. This is one ball he should really, really lean on. He can put Ferraro really in trouble.
Oh, no.
You heard him say, oh, no, but then quickly became positive.
You think that could have been a little psych job? Look at those eyes. Never blinks. All you see is that little bitty hair flipping as that wrist comes through. So I like that, baby. Now Dave Ferraro is going deep on this lane, almost towards the center of the lane. He's hoping to find some oil, have the ball slide back in the pocket. Key shot for David.
Oh, yeah. And pretty. Mom and Dad and Grandma enjoying it.
His dad's saying, well, I wonder if I'd have made that kind of move, Chris. David's back in it. And the most important thing is not only to get this strike to cut the lead of Pedersen down to just 9 pins, but to let Randy Pedersen know that he's back in on it. 7th frame.
Then there was an 8.
Well, this tournament was decided a few years back when Palmer Falgren won the True Value here on this same hit. Watch the ball enter the 1-3. The 5 pin goes straight back off the 8. Many people say this is the only true tap in the bowling. Just too much power. The same thing happened to Les Sykes in 1980 on this same pair of lanes.
Okay. 3 matches coming into this 4th and final. 3 different winners. It's a pattern that set up to this point, and at the moment, Randy Pedersen leads by 20, can increase it to 30. he delights in the fact, Bo, that he wasn't even born when our telecast started in 1962. He loves that.
And you see his ball entering the pocket, and he blows the 5 over in the 4-7 area. The 6 takes out the 10. And you know, Chris, he says that he really learned how to bowl on the professional tour and watching the telecast. Now, you can't be a 150 bowler and enter the pro tournament and come out here and expect to beat the pros. But Randy was a quality, raw player, and he has studied his art very well and obviously has improved to being one of the tops in the world today. And he can really put the hurts on Dave Ferraro if he strikes again here in the 8th frame.
Trying to become a 2-time winner this year. It just slid by and left the 7.
I tell you, I don't like the way Randy Pedersen is playing the championship here. You see his ball sliding a little bit, and the head pin goes to sideboard. Doesn't take out the 7 pin. But Randy is playing a type of line that he's not going to beat himself. Remember Nathan Terry playing the extreme outside line, getting a lot of strikes, but he opened up the door for Ferraro to walk right in. And Pedersen keeping the ball in play. He's had only one ball that wasn't around the pocket, and it was a simple spare in the 2nd frame.
Hold on.
It did. PBA has come up with a great assist for the spectators in these bowling establishments this week with a 3-time magnified scoring sheet, Nelson, that's off to the right and left, and it's great for the people here. And there you see it.
And for the spectators all week long. Good point, Chris.
And that big X will go up there in the 8th frame for Dave Ferraro.
Right now in professional bowling, if I had a man I would like to throw 2 strikes to win a tournament, I would put Dave Ferraro up there with any of them. And his situation is simply this. He has a possible 2:20 game as he comes up in the 9th frame. Randy Pedersen going at a 2:19 pace. But the burden is all on Ferraro to throw some strikes.
Come on, ball.
There's one of them. Big one in the 9th for Dave Ferraro.
Hindsight is always 20/20, obviously, and you look at that solid 8 pin in the 7th frame for Dave Ferraro as you see where the players will be going next week. The Bowler's Journal part open in Merritt Island, a new bowling center for all of us, and I have been there in an exhibition, and it's just a wonderful bowling center, and we should have a great tournament up there as Randy Pedersen steps up here. Dave Ferraro contemplates what he has to do. Pedersen, 9th frame, spare up.
Matching the foundation strike. Gave his opponent a long, hard look. This guy knows how to psych people.
Nobody has won from the #1 position in 1989. Pedersen stands on that threshold of being the first right now if he throws a strike on this ball. If he does not strike, Ferraro can take all the money.
Movement. I still cameraman down to our right, about 55 feet away. Let's see what effect that will have on Randy, who's taking a lot of deep breaths.
The still photographers from the local area, Chris, obviously supposed to be shielded back there in the excitement. Randy's peripheral vision picked up, and I guess the same happened to the other man. Now let's see if, to reset the action, Pedersen with a strike would be the first player to win from the #1 position. Anything less, Ferraro can win.
True grit. Randy Pedersen. And it's early in the year, and he could become the first double winner. And he'll lead just about every category.
He'll lead just about everything. You're right, Chris. As the tour is opened up with some fellows really out here knocking them dead. Del Ballard Jr. and now Randy Pedersen. And a really nice thing happened there is Randy Pedersen came off the approach Dave Ferraro give him a little high five. And I know they're competing for a lot of money, but that shows a little class on both players' part, in my mind.
And of course, this man joins Del Ballard as a two-time winner on the tour this year. What a head-to-head battle they'll be having down the weeks. Randy Pedersen, $30,000 and the championship.
Nature's light. Bathing fields of grain. Enriching full, fresh hops, giving life to sparkling streams, nourishing all the natural things that go into making Bud Light. The light beer that's beechwood aged for a clean, fresh taste that makes Bud Light the one light that outshines them all. Someday, every international air express company will have it all. 24-hour customer service, advanced tracking systems, and their own fleet of planes flying to Europe, Canada, and Japan. Just like Federal Express.
All right.
Until then, the others will just have to pretend.
Nice lightning.
Worldwide service from Federal Express.
People who count on my brakes are important to me. So the people who work on my brakes are important to me.
The people who work on your brakes at Midas are trained brake experts. Remember, nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
There are headaches.
And the car payment is overdue.
And headaches. There's aspirin. And Anacin. The Anacin aspirin formula relieves headaches better than regular aspirin.
Feeling better, hun?
Not just better, better. Anacin. Better relief.
Top figure skating pairs compete in the World Challenge of Champions. Plus America's Tamara McKinney in the World Alpine Ski Championships next on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Randy Pedersen with a 225 to Dave Ferraro's 209, 7 strikes, gets the Budweiser Classic trophy, $30,000. On the right, Mike Hargrave, Budweiser Pro Sports Marketing Coordinator, and on the left, Rafi Carrion, President of the Don Carter Lanes, all 13 of them. And here's a man that's won over $62,000 after only 5 weeks here on the Winter Tour. From Santa Maria, California, Randy Pedersen. Next, ABC's Wide World of Sports features the pairs competition at the World Challenge of Champions from Paris. We'll also focus on Tamara McKinney's exciting